Hi folks, and welcome to another edition of Apps for Success. As always, I am your host, John Bowman, and in each episode, we review an application and how you can use it in your customer success efforts. In this episode, we're going to be reviewing Slack. I know that might be a little bit different from what we've done in the past, just because we've been on a bit of a productivity kick. Really, we've been on a project management kick and how that can help you be more productive. And this is kind of in the same realm, just because some people think that Slack can be a tool to help you be more productive, but others think it can actually distract from your productivity. I tend to think that it can be in the latter camp unless you put specific rules about how you use it, but we'll cover that inside the video. Before we dive in, as always, I do have a joke for you. What is the strongest muscle in your nose? Give up? Your finger. On to the app. So here we are inside of Slack. Now I've downloaded the desktop application. I tend to like to keep it running in the background for when I do have it open, just because I try not to have too many tabs open at any one time. I'm sure you guys can relate to that. But this is Slack. So I started a brand new workspace. That's what these are called. You may notice there's a couple other workspaces here. This is for my work. This is for some customer success stuff I'm in. And then here we are. This is for Apps for Success. Now, just generally orienting yourself to Slack, notice there are channels. Then there's the option for direct messages. Now, any group chat you're going to be taking place in is going to be inside of a channel. Generally speaking, every Slack instance or workspace has a general channel, right? And then these other ones are, again, just sort of a way for you, just random or Slack review. You can go in here, and what this was a channel that was automatically created because I told Slack I was creating a review video. So Slack created a channel to discuss that project I'm working on. And that's actually a really great way to use Slack, is that you create a channel for every project you're working on. So this one might be Slack video. And notice you can always make a channel private or not. If you do not make it private, people will be able to log in and join your channel, okay? I will just let this one be not private. And I can always add in more people. I believe in this Slack instance I have, there we go, another John. Perfect. So you can invite people into your Slack channel, just like so. See how we created that? Another thing that you can do, we're just gonna click the finish signing up option. And you can put in your full name, obviously. And I think I already put in my password. There we go. Yep. URL is appsforsuccess.slack.com. Great. So we're going to take you through a quick exploration. Up here in the top right, that was the notification from Slack, and it tells you, hey, I'm Slackbot, I'm here to help you. Whenever you click a notification from Slack, it actually brings you directly to the channel where that notification came from. In this instance, we're brought to the Slack review video channel, and you can see it's got a nice little message from Slackbot. And one thing that I actually love about Slack, and I think all of our if you're in SaaS, your application hopes to do this too, but all of our applications hope to do, which is to use the application itself to teach you how to use it. It's a really great onboarding experience, which I can take you through right now. But basically what it says is you can send a message or share a file. I can send a message and you can just type enter, right? So it's already got one written here for me, which is handy dandy. If I hit the return key, then it puts out that message for me. Or perhaps if I do want to share a file, again, it just shows me that I can upload a particular file, generally speaking through my computer, because I have yet to add in any type of integration in here. I can add a message and I can upload it just like so. It'll upload the file for me, and voila. Now that file that I've added has been uploaded to the channel for everyone who's inside that channel to see, right? Another great thing about Slack is I really do love their the emoji library that you can get inside of here. We'll go into that a little bit later. But I love also the social approval icons. So this is a post that I've added. Oh, looks like I got a little notification there. There we are. So this is a post that I've added, and anytime anyone posts inside of a channel, you can add a reaction. You can see we've got these reactions here, right? So we can say, oh, I'm starstruck. It's a nice little emoji you can add. And you can add another one here. Again, we can add the cool glasses, or maybe I'm not that happy about that, so I'm going to add in a little rage face. See that? You just click it to remove it, or you can continue adding in more. These emojis are often extremely fun, so you can, if you'll notice, there's a shorthand here. If you type in the colon, and then you just type in, happy, and we'll type in happy, and it gives you my 2 options for which emojis, we can put that in. And instead of having an emoji be in reaction to someone else's posts, I can actually add in an emoji as my own post. So we can see something like shell. There we go. And you can just add in emojis that simply. Now, I don't want to make too much of emojis, but in our day and age, it really is something that helps to convey emotion. Simple text just doesn't cut it so well anymore. So consider adding emojis to your interactions with customers, as well as to your interactions inside of Slack. Speaking of which, some of you might have done this already, but you may create a customer channel. And what you would do is then just allow your customers, you can invite whoever you want, and you can post this for people to publicly share, but you can allow your customers to come into this channel, and it can be a very public way for your customers to ask questions. It's another way to submit feedback perhaps for your customers as well. Consider adding one. We actually don't use one where I work, but I think it's something that we might be open to just for our customer council in the future. So maybe not all of your customer base, but just the people that you think are important. Or if you do have a book of business, maybe you create a private Slack channel for your particular book of business in order to allow you to have just instant access to those folks. Now, I did mention this a little bit earlier. We can always change the options, right? So we're going to click the options here. We can archive the channel. We can make it private if we want to. We can rename it. We can change the description or delete it. Those are always options available to you anytime you're in a channel. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the fact that channels just remind me of the chat rooms. When you're growing up and you're in AOL chat room for your local area or whatever it is having to do with football or sports, that's essentially what channels are. They're essentially chat rooms. Be liberal with your channel making, because you can have as many channels as you want, and really anytime you have a project or a particular conversation where you want to invite a number of people, it just makes sense to have that channel, because you can always remove channels or delete them later. Additionally, Slack will allow you to direct message people. So for example, this is me, and I can DM John2, and this will allow us to chat privately. This is very important because you will have a ton of private conversations. Kind of the benefit of Slack, especially if you're if you're operating in an open office, is that you can still have a conversation with somebody without talking out loud. You don't necessarily want to bother your neighbors with everything that you're saying, and it allows for a little bit of a private conversation to happen. So once again, you can DM folks. Down here below, you can install Google Calendar, install Google Drive, or actually we can create, or we can integrate with a bunch of different other applications if you should so choose. Maybe you want to put in your Google Calendar. I usually use the Google Drive option, but I'm not going to connect that here. Simple poll is really cool because you can just add in a simple poll into your account as well. Anything down here below too, for example, Gmail, that's always a good one. But you can use these integrations in order to work more in Slack. I actually know of a development shop where they can release new versions of their code to the production database using Slack only. So they try and stay in Slack as much as possible to help with coordination, and they can send command lines through Slack in order to do that. I don't know, and I mentioned this inside of the review, how much I believe Slack can add to productivity. I do feel like sometimes it is like being in an everyday meeting, right? Essentially, it's somebody just opening a door and yelling into that room all day long, and you have to go in and everyone just assumes you're caught up to what's happening, maybe in the random channel or the water cooler or whatever it is that you want to call it. But this is an indispensable tool, especially for distributed teams, because it does allow for that type of semi-instant communication that's private, as long as everyone has the shared idea for how quickly you should be responding to your Slack messages. So the major versions the major benefits of Slack are these channels, are the direct messages, and the apps that you can install into it. I really do believe that it can add a ton to your productivity every day. However, like with anything, in my opinion, just like with email, you should have a dedicated time throughout the day that you're going to look at Slack. It shouldn't be something that you're always looking at it. So feel free to deplug from Slack. And if anyone asks why, just tell them John said it's okay. As always, folks, thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate it. If you have any questions or you have any comments for how we can improve this in the future, just hit reply inside of those comments. Hope you're having a good day. Talk to you soon.